What's up, webheads? In this episode of See For Yourself, I'm going to rank all 10 Spider-Man movies from my least favorite to my favorite. So right off the bat, let's start with number 10, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The only good thing about this movie is the chemistry between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. Other than that, everything else in this movie is pretty piss poor. The Rhino starting out the movie is horrible. It's just a mechanical bull. Paul Giamatti is doing a Russian accent, which I'm sure many Russians will probably tell you is probably the worst Russian accent you've ever heard. He has barbed wire tattooed across his skull. What the hell does that have to do with a rhino? It's terrible. I remember watching the trailer and thinking, oh man, Rhino's going to play a great big role in this movie, but he's just in the beginning and he's at the end when he gets a manhole swung at his head to end the movie, which honestly was actually a pretty cool way to end the movie, but at the end of the day, it just all kind of turned to crap. Jamie Foxx was in the movie as Electro. I don't think he was miscast. I think Electro was miswritten. He definitely got an upgrade in a future movie that we're going to be talking about on this list. Amazing Spider-Man 2, Garbaggio. Spider-Man 3, not good. Although there's a lot of great moments in Spider-Man 3, the transformation of Flint Marko into Sandman is one of my favorite transformations in all of the movies. It's actually really cool. It actually still holds up to this day. It's really cool to look at. And honestly, the special effects on Venom are pretty dope. And of course, as bad as it is, and it's bad, the Spider-Man dance
is my impression.
Is pretty damn funny, but I don't think it was funny in the way they intended it to be. Emotep flying through the city, trying to rob banks. I just don't know why they decided to try to remix The Mummy. Who knows? Topher Grace was terribly miscast as Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock is supposed to be this big hulking dude already before he becomes Venom. And Topher Grace is just a small, whiny man crying about losing to Peter Parker. The whole thing with Harry getting amnesia and losing his memory and then trying to take revenge on Peter and sleep with Mary Jane. And it got really weird. There was a one good fight between Peter and Sandman in the subway, but other than that, there's really not much else to love about this movie. Number 8. Some people may be surprised. Spider-Man Far From Home is okay. It's solid, but I don't think it's that good of a movie, only because we spend the first half of the movie waiting for the other shoe to drop with Mysterio. And if you grew up like me in the 90s, at no point in time were you confused about whether or not Mysterio was on Spider-Man's side. We spend so much time building that up that by the time the
plot twist
comes up, you're kind of fed up with it. Everything after that is actually really dope. There's a dope fight between Spider-Man and Mysterio where Mysterio whips Peter's ass. And there's a lot of great emotional beats specifically right after that scene, with Peter trying to reconcile him being his own hero instead of being in Tony's shadow. And honestly, the ending fight is really good. But I have this philosophy where if half your movie is bad, then your movie is bad. Half the movie isn't bad, it's just mediocre. So the movie's mediocre. Number 7, The Amazing Spider-Man. This is a good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed Andrew Garfield's turn as Peter Parker and his turn specifically as Spider-Man. He does a great job delivering the type of quips we expect from Spider-Man.
Just let me go.
Is that a knife? Is that a real knife?
Yes, it's a real knife.
My weakness, it's small knives.
The storyline is actually pretty good. I love seeing the Lizard in this movie. He was a good villain. I thought that a lot of the mystery that they set up in the movie was really good, especially surrounding Peter's parents, although that never really got paid off, unfortunately. But I really did think the chemistry between all the actors and the storyline made for a really good movie. Number 6. This one's probably going to get me in trouble. Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is a really good movie, but it has a lot of flaws. There's a big section of this movie that is really quite boring. A lot of that taking place while Peter loses his powers to depression. I'm not making fun of depression. I mean, I have depression myself. Like, I deal with that kind of thing on a day-to-day basis. But for a Spider-Man movie, him to just lose his webbing, which in this movie is biological because he's depressed. Yeah, I don't know about that one, Chief. But that's not to say the movie's terrible. The movie's not terrible at all. It's just that kind of drops it for me. Now, the best part of this movie, I will make this statement. I believe in it. Spider-Man versus Doc Ock on the train is the best 1v1 superhero fight of all time. I remember seeing that in the theater and being absolutely amazed by what I was watching. That fight's great. It's phenomenal. Yes, Doc Ock is getting punched in the face by a full-grown Spider-Man. How does that work? Comics. I mean, it's just comics. Nothing makes sense all the time. And also, movies. Nothing makes sense all the time. It's just not the way it's going to be. Spider-Man 2 is definitely one of my favorite Spider-Man movies. It's just not better than the ones I have next. Number 5, Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming is one of my favorite Spider-Man movies of all time because it does the one thing the previous 2 Spider-Man iterations didn't do. It gave us a person that's actually believable as being a teenager in high school. Tom Holland plays a great Peter Parker. He's inquisitive, he's nerdy, he doesn't have cool hair like Andrew Garfield. He's not clearly a 30-year-old man like Tobey Maguire. He's perfect for this role. And not only that, it also gives us a great villain in Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture, played by Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton is phenomenal in this movie as the Vulture. This movie has legitimately the best plot twist in all of the MCU. When Peter Parker opens that door and sees that Adrian Toomes is his prom date's father, that entire scene, the tension, the build-up, the car right there, the light is turning green on Adrian Toomes' face, Peter Parker sitting in the backseat, can't even talk to his date because he's so nervous and so concerned. It's such a good sequence. It's such a good movie. Peter learns a valuable lesson about it not being the suit that makes you Spider-Man. It's you who makes you Spider-Man.
Please, this is all I have. I'm nothing without this suit.
If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it.
It also has one of the more emotional scenes in Spider-Man movies where Peter is stuck under that rubble and he has to believe in himself. He has to push himself to get out of this situation because he initially starts crying like a child, right? He goes back to being a kid. He feels helpless. He has to get himself together and push through it just like Tony would want him to learn how to do. You can't have your hand held the entire time, which is why I don't necessarily agree when people are like, oh, he's just Iron Man Jr. Iron Man's helping him all the time. No, he had to go through some shit to learn how to push through all the things that he was going through in that movie and come away victorious in the end. Number 4, Spider-Man, the original movie. Tobey Maguire introduced us to Spider-Man on the big screen. He's phenomenal. Willem Dafoe is excellent as the Green Goblin. The entire cast is great. It's an amazing movie that's kind of a time capsule because in that movie there were no cell phones being used. It was all pay phones. It's really kind of weird to look at these days. Bonesaw is ready. Great line. Do you know how much I sacrificed?
You know how much I sacrificed?
There's so many great, memorable moments in that movie that it's impossible for me to not have it in the top 5. The only corny part about the movie...
You mess with Spidey, you mess with New York!
Shut the hell up. Get out my face. Number 3, Spider-Man No Way Home. What a triumph of a movie. All 3 Spider-Men in the same movie. And it's not just that they're in the same movie, they all serve a purpose. Originally, when we found out all 3 Spider-Man were going to be in it, we didn't really know if it was going to be a cameo or if they were actually going to play a big role in the movie. And lo and behold, they played an enormous role in the movie. Being there for Peter, Tom Holland, right as tragedy strikes to help him pick himself up off his feet and learn that with great power comes great responsibility. And now I know Aunt May taught him that. It was reinforced by these other more experienced Spider-Men. And I think my favorite moment in the movie when Spidey is going to kill the Green Goblin, Tom Holland, and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man steps right in front of him. He grabs a glider that Tom Holland's about to stab the Green Goblin with, and he doesn't say a word. He just looks at him. He gives him a big brother Spider-Man look and says, no, this is not who you want to be. This is not the type of Spider-Man that you want to go forward being. It was almost ruined for me because when I walked into the theater to see it on opening night, some kid yelled out,
"Oh my God, I can't believe Tobey Maguire dies."
And I was like, oh my God. So now I'm watching this entire movie waiting for Tobey Maguire to die because some kid yelled it out in the auditorium of the movie theater. That kid is a loser. Let's talk about the Electro upgrade. Jamie Foxx was done justice because his Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2 was garbaggio. I'm so glad he got an upgrade in this movie. He was actually given a dope role, a dope purpose, and not corny lines where he's just some sniveling guy, Max, and I fell in the vat of electric eels. Nobody likes me, Spider-Man.
That's why you're here. You remember my birthday. All the crime fighting you've been doing, and all of a sudden you take time out to come visit Little old me, Max.
It was none of that nonsense. It was actually a good portrayal of Electro. And it was also cool to see Doc Ock again. There are a lot of great performances in this movie, but Willem Dafoe, he was amazing as Norman Osborn and even better as Green Goblin. The way he separates those two characters, just by the way he furrows his eyebrows and his nose and just the way he looks, it's just like he just did a great job. What do you say? Norman's on sabbatical, honey.
Norman's on sabbatical, honey.
The hell?
Like all that stuff, incredible, dope. I actually want to watch it again tonight, and I might do so. Okay, number 2. That's 4. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I know a lot of people are going to have this number 1. I'll explain why it's not my number 1 when I get to number 1, which is obviously Into the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is amazing. It's one of the best Spider-Man movies of all time. Top 2, obviously, I have it. It gives so much more depth to the characters that we've already introduced while introducing us to brand new characters who are amazing. Hobie Brown, Miguel O'Hara, and it does an amazing job of communicating the stakes of the movie. The movie's fun, it has fan service done the right way where it's actually given a purpose. I love this movie. And number 1, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I love this movie. It might be my favorite movie of all time. The reason why I love this movie more than Across the Spider-Verse is because I have an emotional attachment to it. I never thought I would see Miles Morales, a black Spider-Man, black and Puerto Rican Spider-Man, on screen being as awesome as he was. I legitimately teared up when the movie started, when he started singing that Post Malone song, because I was already just kind of happy. I was relieved, I was elated, I was excited to see this movie starring Miles Morales, who had been shitted on by so many comic book fans who didn't want him around. And I love Miles Morales. He's my favorite superhero, right? Peter Parker Spider-Man was for a long time. And honestly, you don't have to choose, really. But I have. Miles Morales is my favorite Spider-Man, and he always will be. Now, the good thing is, beyond that first scene that made me emotional, the movie's amazing. Peter B. Parker, Gwen, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Pig, Penny Parker, all amazing. Kingpin's big ass. I don't even know how he got through doors. They try to show him getting out of a car. I don't believe you. I don't believe he came up out of that car. It also has an amazing plot twist that I did not see coming, with Dr. Olivia Octavius turning out to be Doc Ock. That reveal was incredible. I did not see that coming whatsoever. And after the reveal, she followed through. She was dope. She had the saws on the tentacles. She was killing it. I would love to actually see her return as a villain, maybe teaming up with spoilers. I won't say anymore. So anyway, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is my favorite movie, honestly, of all time. So of course it's going to top this list. And with that, that's my list and rankings of all the Spider-Man movies. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Where do you rank the Spider-Man movies? And if you haven't seen all of them, please go see for yourself.